Hello everybody and welcome to the Beautiful Things channel. I'm here today to announce our latest charitable campaign for Beautiful Things, which is very exciting for me and also for my business as a whole. We have decided that for 2017 we are going to join forces with Mind, the mental health charity, for a number of reasons, and I thought I would talk you through how we are going to raise money for Mind, but also why we are planning on raising money for Mind, and tell you a little bit about me and my personal journey with mental health. So to start with, let me tell you how we're going to raise funds for Mind. We, as you know, do classes and courses from our studio here, BTHQ. And we run regular crafty cuppa sessions where we encourage people to come along and take part in a craft, a really simple, easy craft activity with plenty of tea and the opportunity to get to know other people and make friends and generally just have a really nice time. We encourage that actively as a really good way of taking time out and focusing on you and your own health and well-being. So for each of those crafty cuppas, we are going to donate £1 per participant to Mind throughout the whole of 2017. We are also going to be donating £1 for every single one of our online courses and kits that we sell through our website, Semi-Virtual Courses. Again, there are people out there who, for whatever reason, can't come to physical classes here at the studio. They may not be able to leave the house, they may not be nearby. There's various reasons, but there are also lots of you out there who I know want to learn a new skill and a new craft, but simply can't bring yourself to join in with groups of people, don't necessarily want to or have the inclination to leave the house. And so it's really nice to be able to learn properly and in expert care from the comfort of your own home. So those particular courses are ideal for those people. So again, for every single one of those online courses and kits, we will be donating £1 to Mind throughout the whole of 2017. And we will be doing lots of other activities and events. The last thing we're going to do to help raise funds is that these doors are always open. We have classes on most days of the week, but we have our main sewing area, which I'm sitting in now, and just up there is our lovely big kitchen table. It's a really lovely cosy area, and 9 times out of 10 when there's classes taking place down here, that little space remains empty, it's not used. So we want to encourage you to come in and use the space. If you want to take 5 minutes out of your day to come and do a spot of knitting, do a bit of hand sewing, do some colouring in, some drawing, writing, whatever you want to do that you can do around that table, we want you to come in. We're not going to charge you for that. We want a busy, active hub of craftiness here at Beautiful Things HQ. So we're not going to charge you for it, but what we will ask is that you pop a donation into the donation tin for Mind. And it's up to you how much you want to give. It can be as little as 50p, it could be as much as £20. I really don't mind. I just want you to come in, use the space and feel that you can use the area as a safe haven to get away from the day-to-day drudgery and grind and have some time for you. So the easiest thing to do if you want to do that is just to give me a ring on 01277 811136. Check that I'm here, check that I'm going to be here, make sure that there is space and somewhere for you to come and sit, and we're not heaving and absolutely fully booked with classes, and then we can get you to come in and arrange a time for you. So that's how we are going to raise money for Mind this year. So I'm hoping that when I sit here at the end of 2017 and talk to you all, I will be able to tell you about the hundreds, potentially thousands of pounds that Beautiful Things has raised for Mind. So, a little bit about mental health and why we are doing this. I'm going to refer to my notes here because I want to get this right, but Mind say that 1 in 4 of us experience some kind of mental health problem within their life. Now, if you look around you, you've probably got more than 4 people in your close family You look around your friends. How many friends have you got? I mean, I've got, 20, 30 close friends. That means quite a lot of them have suffered with some form of mental health problem. And mental health problems don't have to be massive. It doesn't have to be that you've been officially signed off with depression. You don't have to be on antidepressant tablets to have suffered a mental health condition. Mental health it could be something as small as just being a little bit anxious about certain situations and certain things. It could be about not liking to be in busy places where there's lots of people. You might not like to socialise in big groups. You might prefer just the company of a couple of people. All of those things, no matter how small, they could be massive to you, but they might seem small to somebody outside, can count towards, mental health. And I think where we are fortunate is that nowadays the awareness of such things has been hugely raised, and a lot of that comes down to charities like Mind. Also, we've got the recent campaign Heads Together, which is fronted by Prince William and Harry and the rest of the family. It's really raising awareness and heightening awareness of mental health, and that's fantastic, but that needs to continue. We need to stop hiding from it and feeling ashamed about our emotions and our well-being and who we are and what makes us tick. I think being here over the last 4 years has certainly raised my personal awareness. Lots and lots of the people that have come through my doors and remain regular customers here, I know their personal journeys. I know where they've come from, what they've suffered with. I know the things that make them tick. I know the things they don't like. I know the things they do like. And the one thing that all of them share is that this place is a safe place. It's somewhere they can come and they can close the door on their problems. They can openly talk if they want to about things, or they can keep everything inside and just enjoy some time for themselves and do what they need to do to get on with their day. Friendships are formed here, and there's a huge group of BTHQ regulars. They're my friends as well as my customers, and I love them all, each and every one of them. And we joke, we laugh, we're all a little bit crazy, and we are. And I think getting to know them and getting to know what they've been through and their various journeys has made me realise that actually, do you know what? I've had a bit of a mental health problem over the last few years. In fact, I could quite easily say that I've had 3, and one of them is still ongoing. And I thought I'd share that with you now. Just, you might be a little bit interested, you might not. Tune out if you're not, that's fine. But I thought I'd have a little chat with you. So I'm going to take you back to 2005, roughly. So about 12 years ago. And I had a really, really nasty infection in my booba-doobs, in my breasts. I actually had a really, really serious form of mastitis, which is something that normally only a breastfeeding mother would get. At the time, I'd had no children, hadn't had Tom or Izzy, and it was really unusual. And I went to see my doctor, and I was in a lot of pain. I was really, really poorly, and he had a good prod around and realised that there was actually quite a large growth in one of my breasts. Now, at the time, I would have been, I have to do some maths now, 26. So that's really quite young to have something, a lump in one's boob. Everybody automatically straight away, oh, it's cancer, you're going to die. And that's what goes through everybody's mind. And it was horrible. It wasn't a nice time. We were very, very fortunate in at the time I worked for the local authority, for local government. I had a good job, a well-paid job, and I had private medical insurance. And I was very lucky that I got straight in to see a consultant within a matter of days, had some biopsies and various things, and we found out very quickly that it wasn't actually cancerous, which was fantastic. That was great. But the journey didn't end there, funnily enough. A few months later, the consultant decided that he wanted to remove the growth, even though he wasn't sure exactly what it was. He knew it wasn't cancerous, but it needed to come out, so because it was obviously causing repeat infections and I was still quite poorly. And so they removed it. It turned out it was literally just a growth. They put it down to the fact that I have eczema, and at the time I had it quite seriously, and basically it was, the eczema was building up internally as well as externally, and it had formed like a mass. So yeah, yuck. But anyway, it came out. I was signed off work for a couple of weeks. Obviously, I'd been under a general anaesthetic, I'd had an operation, a natural path of the course, needed rest, relaxation, etc. I had 2 weeks off, actually thoroughly enjoyed it, just watched lots of telly and had no commitments at the time other than work, which I wasn't at, and so it was a really very pleasurable experience, and I didn't feel even slightly emotional or drained or anything until the day that I needed to go back to work. And I woke up that morning, and I have never, ever felt this way again, and I'm very thankful, but I simply couldn't go. I felt sick. The whole of my inside was just in a knot, and I didn't know why. I didn't know how to feel. I'd never felt like that before, and it was quite frightening that I had absolutely no idea how I was going to cope. I now know I was suffering a panic attack, but obviously at the time didn't have a clue. I phoned my boss, who thankfully for me was a lovely man, and he was thoroughly brilliant with me actually, and he said, you know what, Claire, that's fine, don't come in, just stay at home, don't come in, don't rush to the doctors and continue your script and get signed off anymore, that's fine, just do what you need to do. And I was very lucky, because I know not everybody's that fortunate. I know some people have horrible bosses who would be like, well, if you're not coming in, you're fired. But he was lovely. Anyway, a couple of days later, I did venture to the doctors, and I explained what had happened to me. And the first thing he did was hand me a prescription for antidepressants. And I was like, why would you give me those? I'm not depressed. I'm not sad. And I think people do. They assume that depression means that you've got to be sad, you've got to be down, you've got to be down in the dumps, you've got to feel in a terrible way. And I didn't understand why he was giving me happy pills. And at the time, I went home and I did start to take them, and they did start to work, and I did start to feel better. And I did get back to work, albeit on a phased return to work. I had another couple of weeks off, and then I went back in for mornings only for a week, and then 2 or 3 days, and gradually built myself back up to working. And I was fortunate, obviously that was all I needed. It was just a little blip. I did come off the tablets because I didn't actually like what they were doing to my body, and thankfully all was well. Looking back at it now, I never had a formal diagnosis, but having met other people who've gone through surgery and things like that and done the same thing, I know it was probably a form of sort of post-traumatic stress. When you think about it, potentially I could have had cancer. I didn't, thankfully. I had surgery. It is a fairly big thing, and we're expected to get on with these things in our day-to-day, and you shouldn't have to. You should have that support and guidance there to help you. I have to say, my family, my friends, they were amazing. They were great. They stood by me through all of it. No complaints. And I don't think anything would have been any different had I done anything any other way. But at the time, I didn't have an understanding of what was happening to me, and I only now, in the last few years, can look back on that time and think, actually, this is what happened to you, Claire. This is what you did, and this is how you dealt with it. And it's a learning curve, but I have experienced some form of mental health. Following on from that, when I look back to, I had Tom, he was great. I look back and I look at all the dramas I went through when he was born. He was premature. He was in neonatal for 3 weeks. He was 7 weeks early. He's spent 2 or 3 years catching up with his peers. We've had all sorts of health issues with him. And we've just got on with it. As a mum and a dad, Stuart and I have just got on with it. again, we had great support from our friends and family. We were very, very fortunate because there's so many people out there who don't have a support network. And I think that's, again, where charities like Mind come in. They can offer you that help and support. Their phone lines, their counsellors and things are there for people who need it. But I look at that and I look at what damage those things has done to my mind, and the memories that remain up here. I will remember those things forever. They will never leave me, ever. And I think when everybody, if everybody, I'll set you this exercise. If you look back, if you think you haven't got a mental health problem or a mental health issue, be it small, large, look back over your life now. And look back at key moments in your life, when you had your children, when you moved house, when you got married, when you started a job, your health. Look at those things and challenge yourself to see. I don't want you to go out there and make yourself have a mental health problem. That's not what I want you to do, but I want you to look at your mental health. Is it 100% okay? Or were there times that you needed help and you didn't necessarily have it? Are there people in your life who potentially may also need help and might not be saying anything or might not even realise? And you could help them. You could pick them up and help them along the way. I'm rambling. I knew I would. But I had Izzy. While I was pregnant with Isabel, I didn't have an easy pregnancy. I don't do pregnancy very well at all. I don't like being pregnant. My body doesn't like being pregnant. And I was signed off work again for quite some time while I was pregnant with Izzy. Looking back, I have friends now who have suffered postnatal depression. I know I didn't have postnatal depression, but I also didn't know that such things as prenatal depression exist. I do now, and when I look back, there are very small elements of my time when I was pregnant with Izzy when I really wasn't very happy, and things weren't great, and it didn't help that I was being made redundant at the time as well, so there's all sorts of dramas going on in my life, so that wasn't a very good time either. Again, I'm fortunate, she came along, I left my job, I got made redundant, thank you very much, I got a nice payout, and thanks to that we are here, and I'm now in a happy place. I am able to work for myself. I don't miss my children's assemblies, I don't miss sports day. If I need to take a day off to do something with them, then I can. I meet amazing people every day of my life, and I feel that I am getting such a big reward from doing what I do that I want to give back. And it doesn't have to be financially. The fact that we can give a donation to Mind is fantastic, but I know that we give back in so many more ways. I see it every day, just by seeing people's faces when they come in here and the enjoyment and the friendships that are made. So I love the fact that I can give back, and I like the fact that I have personally, through my own journey, but also through the relationships with the people that I have made, have come to understand what mental health is in such a better light. I love that it's out there now. I love that everybody's talking about it. But for so long they weren't. And so please, please be aware of yourself. Be aware of your friends, your family, what they're going through. They don't have to be on antidepressants to be depressed. They don't have to be signed off from work to be stressed out about something. Anxiety, depression, self-confidence, all those things, they are all mental health. Mental health isn't about being crazy. It is about looking after your brain, looking after your mind, and looking after your body. And they all go hand in hand. And it's why I am a massive, massive advocate for me time. Make time for yourself. No matter how busy you are, it is really, really, really important that you make time for yourself, because that time means that your brain is resting, it's relaxing, it's away from the day-to-day, and you are looking after yourself and your mental health. So if you're worried about a friend, bring them along to Beautiful Things. we'll put the kettle on. They don't have to make something. They can come here, they can enjoy the space. We can get a colouring book out and some colouring pens. They can doodle. They can just sit, have a cup of tea, talk, socialise, generally have a nice time, rest and relax. That is what we are all about here, about learning something new, but also about stimulating your brains and resting you and relaxing you. So, I'm waffling. As I said, if you can't get here, then our online semi-virtual courses are an absolutely perfect way of learning something new from the comfort of your own home. Once again, £1 from every single one of those courses that we sell will go to Mind, the mental health charity. If you can get here, please come here. The door is always open and the kettle is always on. Thank you for listening to me waffle about randomness. Hopefully you have got to understand that I am one of you. I've been called all sorts of things. Craft guru. Miriam, I'm talking to you. All sorts of random names. But more importantly, I am Claire McInnes. I am the face behind Beautiful Things. I too have had my own journey with mental health, albeit I know on a very small level there are people out there who have massively come a long way and experienced some really quite horrible and horrendous things. I get that. I get I'm tiny on the scale. But we shouldn't have to be small, medium or big. Mental health is out there, no matter how big or how small, and we need to do what we can to raise the awareness of it, fight the stigma of it, and make sure that we're looking after ourselves. So thank you for listening. Bye for now.